Hello mountain bike friends. So the question today is, does Zone 2 training help with mountain biking? If you struggle to keep up with your riding group or you avoid certain trails because of the climb, then this video is for you. In this video, I provide a brief summary of what Zone 2 training is, then I discuss my experience of experimenting with Zone 2 training over the past 1.5 years in relation to mountain biking. Then I share my personal workout plan. So first, let's discuss what Zone 2 training is. In a nutshell, Zone 2 refers to a mild to moderate level of physical activity corresponding to a certain heart rate range in which the body preferentially burns fat versus carbohydrates. For this to occur, the cells must have access to sufficient oxygen, a condition that goes away once you go over a moderate exertion level. So when you're exercising in your Zone 2 heart rate, you should be able to hold a conversation comfortably because you're breathing at a comfortable rate. In other words, you're not in an oxygen deficient or anaerobic state. Another aspect of Zone 2 has to do with muscle fiber types. Broadly speaking, we have type 1 slow twitch muscle fibers, which aid in endurance sports such as cross country. We also have fast twitch type 2 fibers that aid in bursts of power such as powerlifting, sprinting, or activities like the long jump. We also have hybrid fibers that are comprised of both types. These hybrid fibers can adapt in reaction to the kind of exercise that you engage in. So slow twitch fibers preferentially burn fat, while fast twitch fibers burn glucose, also known as sugar. I'm not going into great depth about what Zone 2 is because there's already a lot of high quality information out there. My go-to source is a book called Heart Rate Training by authors Roy Benson and Declan Conley. This book clearly articulates what Zone 2 training is and how to do it. Another good source of information is the podcast called The Drive by Peter Attia, who is a former San Diego resident. However, if you're just starting out, the podcast may cause information overload and subsequent paralysis. I would start with the book first. Now let's talk about my experience with Zone 2. And before I get into it, please note that my experience may not necessarily equate to someone else's experience because of a number of factors such as gender, age, genetics, diet, and exercise habits. Anyway, I wanted to try Zone 2 training because I was tired of feeling horrible with climbs. I noticed that my friends who were road bikers were excellent at climbing relative to pure mountain bikers. Indeed, people generally spend a lot more time in Zone 2 while road biking relative to mountain biking. In addition, I was sick of being spent for the rest of the day after an enduro ride. My hope was for faster recovery times as well. Now, Zone 2 is a major time commitment and I kept putting it off. However, after experiencing a bad injury plus bad weather conditions, I was granted a golden opportunity to finally dive in. While off the mountain bike for several months, due to the injury and weather conditions, I did approximately 180 minutes of Zone 2 on a stationary bike per week. After a couple of months, objectively, my average exercise heart rate decreased while my power output increased. According to Strava's fitness indicator, my fitness went down. However, this didn't actually occur. Rather, it revealed the limitations of Strava's algorithm for detecting fitness. It seems to primarily rely on heart rate levels to guess fitness levels, and that's not accurate for measuring endurance improvement. Eventually, I was able to get back on the mountain bike, and here's what I noticed. First, mild to moderate climbs were easier, but not significantly. Second, climbs with grade over 9% were still really difficult. In fact, they seemed more difficult. Also, Zone 2 training didn't automatically boost me to the front of my mountain bike riding group. However, I noticed that I would pass most of the riders after about 1 hour of riding and over 1,200 feet of climbing. In that situation, while people stopped to take breaks, I felt relatively okay, and I kept going. In other words, for short, flat rides, I really couldn't perceive major advantages during group rides. For epic long rides such as Palm Canyon, the results were noticeable. At that point, I added about 30 to 60 minutes of leg weight lifting. I focused on fast reps rather than slow, drawn-out ones. My goal was to regain some fast twitch muscles that I lost by devoting too much time to Zone 2 workouts. Within a couple of weeks, the hard climbs, over 9% grade, became much easier. In addition, my recovery improved as well. Instead of becoming comatose for the remainder of the day after riding, now I could do other things like spend time with family and friends. One major problem with the Zone 2 training on a stationary bike is that it's really, really boring. I think as mountain bikers, we get to experience one of the most sensory-rich experiences on this planet. Therefore, we can really appreciate how much is being sacrificed with each indoor workout. Now, to get over this obstacle, I finally gave in and bought a road bike, spandex shorts and everything. And my Zone 2 experience increased to another level. Getting those Zone 2 minutes went from being a true chore to a pleasure. I was able to get more than 180 minutes per week while maintaining leg weight training. My ability to climb continues to improve. I also lost about 5 to 10 pounds, which made the climbs easier. I also try to squeeze as much Zone 2 out of my mountain bike rides, limiting my speed and climbs as much as possible. Now, during my exploration of zone training, I had a significant aha moment. At some point, I was listening to the Drive podcast by Peter Attia. And for those of you guys who don't know, Dr. Attia is a longevity doctor who takes deep dives into questions regarding fitness. The guest, Dr. Andy Galpin, was discussing a study of identical twins in which one was an elite endurance athlete while the other was a normal guy. Although the endurance athlete had much higher stamina, his normal Joe twin brother was actually stronger. In other words, the normal Joe brother could jump higher and lift heavier weights. This helped me understand that pure Zone 2 training is not ideal for mountain biking, at least for me, a man in his early 40s. Indeed, in mountain biking, we need both strength and stamina. Also, as we get older, the muscle fibers transition towards slow twitch fibers, becoming the predominant type. According to Dr. Galpin, it should be a longevity goal to preserve as much of those fast type 2 fibers as possible. The takeaway I got was that focusing only on Zone 2 training is not ideal, especially for an aging mountain biker. I believe this is why I really saw the benefits of adding 30 to 60 minutes of intense leg weight training per week. I noted that 30 minutes was good for most mountain bike riding conditions, but for really difficult trails where you're frequently hitting 9% plus grade climbs, then going to 60 minutes of weight training for your legs really helps. But going above 60 minutes per week seemed to cut into my endurance. I'm sure that finding the right proportion of weight training in Zone 2 will be specific to one's age and genetics. So even though I found the proportion of Zone 2 and weight training that works for me now, I'm sure that it will change as I get older. So regarding my personal mountain bike workout currently, it involves the following: 30 to 60 minutes of leg weight training per week, 3 to 6 hours of road biking per week, and 30 minutes of leg stretches. I include the stretching because it prevents horrible neck pain. In conclusion, the question was, does Zone 2 training help mountain biking? The answer is yes, clearly yes. However, it needs to be balanced with strength training as well. Otherwise, high grade and technical climbs may become more difficult. Also, something else to watch out for. Mountain biking is a high consequence sport, kind of like martial arts. Zone 2 training is a major time commitment. If you want to try Zone 2 training, I advise that you make sure to get at least one mountain bike ride in per week. This is so you maintain your skill set and minimize chances of falling. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thank you.